Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Hello, naririnig po?
Yes po.
Wala. Hello, naririnig po ba ako?
Yes po.
Opo.
Tayo. Naririnig niyo po ako ng ayos?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, good. Okay, sige, thank you. Okay, so we are done with the different structures of the materials. Okay, so namely, we have there po yung apat po natin na diniscuss. We have the BCC, the FCC, okay, HCP, and the simple cubic. Okay, so yun po yung mga na-discuss natin last time. Okay, and then from there, okay, so we evaluated different parameters and also we solve for the density, okay, given the structure of the material. Okay, so nakita po natin doon that using the density, we are able to predict the density of the material. That is simply using the structure. Okay, so ito po naman, okay, our module here pertains to the imperfections of solids. Okay, so with the arrangement that we have, ay titingnan naman natin ano yung mga imperfections that can be seen on the structure. Okay, so here are the learning objectives, okay, for this particular module. Una, identify and describe the various types of imperfections found in solids. Okay, so you will be given illustrations. Okay, you will be given illustrations. Okay, and then from those illustrations of the structure, dapat po you will able to identify ano bang klase ng imperfection meron doon sa structure po na yon. Okay? The second one is to calculate the equilibrium number of vacancies in a material at a given temperature using the appropriate constant. Okay? So when you say vacancy, that's one of the defects in the material. So using our on our objective 2, okay, you are able to define or calculate gaano kadami yung gano'n na vacancy on a certain volume of the material. And then the third one is to analyze how different types of defects influence the properties of the material. Okay, so we all know from material science that we are after the relationship between the structure and the properties of the material. Okay, so here, okay, makikita po natin what would then be the effect of the defect, okay, present in the structure doon sa properties. So ano ba yung pinagkaiba? Kung ito yung structure na walang defect at saka yung structure na may defect, ano ang magiging result niya or ano magiging effect niya on the properties. Okay? So mamaya po after the ano po natin discussion, okay, we will go back to this learning objectives. Okay? Yan, ito po yung sinasabi natin as the imperfection. So, ito po yung mga sample. Ito po yung binanggit ko kanina na vacancy. Okay? So, here is yung sa vacancy po natin. Okay? So, yung nandito po, okay? So, supposed to be, meron dapat dyan, but then, that is missing. So, yun po yung tinatawag natin na vacancy. That is simply a sample of the imperfection. Okay? So, when we say imperfection po, it is simply a crystalline defect. Okay? A crystalline defect which refers to a lattice irregularity. So these are the flaws on your material, okay? Whether nasa loob ba siya or clearly seen by the naked eye kasi nasa external surface, they are considered to be imperfections. So what are then the types of these imperfections? Okay? So ito po yung major types ng imperfections po natin. So we have the first one. We have the first group, we call that the point defects. Pangalawa is linear, C is interfacial, and then D is the bulk defects. So you have there the groupings, okay? Pag sinabi po natin na point defects, these are more on, okay, the defect is simply on a single point. So doon mo lang po siya makikita. Sa single point po na yon, okay? So kapag po naman linear defect, meaning it is one-dimensional. So more on dislocation po to. Okay? Parang nadi-dislocate mo the entire, say, entire area or entire line nung ating mga entire row or column nung ating na arrangement. Okay? C naman po is interfacial defect or boundary. So this time, ito po ay two-dimensional. Okay? So sa bulk defects po, we call this also as the volume defects. Okay, wherein, ito po yung clearly seen by our naked eye. Okay, kasi ito po ay nasa external surface. Unlike po yung ABC, okay, you would be needing here microscope, okay, to see these imperfections. Okay? May tanong po ba sila? Okay, so ganito na lang po ha. Pag may tanong po kayo, you raise your hand po. You use the hand icon po para makita ko. Okay? Okay, so let us have first yung first group po natin, the point defects. Okay? So under point defects po, we have the vacancies, the interstitial atom, okay? So again, as I have said, kapag po point defect yan, okay, so the defect is seen only doon po sa particular point po, okay? So let us have first po the vacancy. Ari po yung illustration natin ng vacancy, okay? So kita naman po natin, okay, that there is missing. Kumbaga sa arrangement, kitang-kita po natin na ay nawala yung dapat na meron na atom po doon. Okay, so yun po yung tinatawag natin as the vacancy. And then second one is the interstitial atom. Pag sabi po na interstitial, meaning parang may sumingit na atom. Okay, so there should be none, pero meron kang nakikita na present. Okay, katulad po nito. Okay, and then the other one is here. Okay, so yun po color yellow na yon here. Okay, ito po. And that's also interstitial. Kaiba ng dalawa. This way, atom po na sumingit doon is just the same atom. We call this the host atom. So yung sumingit po doon is the same atom po yun. Okay? Whereas dini po, okay, it is different. Okay? Kaya ang tawag sa kanya ay interstitial impurity atom. Okay? So it's a different element from the host. Okay? Hindi po katulad nito na parehas lang. Ay, nakauwi na agad sila. Ano mo na sa akin magkano ha? And then the other one, okay, is the substitutional atom. Okay? Substitutional atom. So for the substitutional atom, ito naman po yan. Okay? So it's a different atom and then it simply replaces po yung dapat na host atom na nandun. So in the absence of the host atom, you Okay, so let us take the vacancy. So, alin nga ulit yung vacancy? So, dito po sa ating illustration dito, okay, so you have seen here a missing atom, okay? So, that's your vacancy. So, this is the simplest of the point defects and one normally occupied but from which an atom is missing, okay? So, madali po yung tandaan. So, ano po yung effect okay? So, that can initiate voids which leads to cracking or failure under the stress, okay? So, ano pong ibig sabihin nun? So, since wala po dong atom, okay, this serves po as a stress razor. Okay, when we say a stress razor, at stresses po are concentrated on such area making this area po weak. Okay? Nagiging weak po yung area that if you apply a load on the material, most probably po, yung failure po will occur at this point. Okay? Kasi nga, may ano siya, may void space na siya dyan. Okay? So, cracking will most likely to, ano po dyan, to come out. Okay? Doon po sa parte kung saan meron po tayong vacancy. Kasi, kalma po, kung in-apply mo siya ng load, okay, eh, saan ba siya unang bibigay? Dito po kasi magkakasama sila, puno sila. Unlike dito, may butas na. So, ito na lang yung ano po natin, i-rip para totally siya ay masira. Okay? So, yun po yung isa sa mga hindi magandang effect noong vacancy. It can also reduce the electrical and thermal conductivity of the material. Okay? The ability po to transfer yung heat, to transfer the electricity, okay? Yan po ay affected. Okay? So, yan po yung para sa vacancy. And then here, we can calculate po the number of vacancies. So we call that the equivalent number of vacancies and we use NV as the symbol. Okay? So say for example, for 1 cubic meter, okay, gaano kadami yung vacancy doon? Okay, ilan bang atoms, okay, ang nawawala? Okay, so we measure po the number of vacancies using this equation. NV is equal to N exponent negative QV over KT. This should be big letter T po. Okay? QV over KT. And here po pertains to the total number of atomic sites. Okay? So how do we determine po the total number of atomic sites? Yan po ay katulad lang nung sa density. Okay? So you will be using here the density po. Okay? Yung pong last topic natin that makes use of the structure and the Avogadro's number. Okay? So later po I'll show you on how to obtain this number of atomic sites. And then you have their QV. We call this po the energy required for the formation of a vacancy. Okay? Again, this is the amount of energy that is required to form a vacancy. And then for every material po, may kanya-kanya po siyang value ng QV. Okay? So, different materials, they do have different values of this QV. And then yung KT naman po, K is a Boltzmann constant. Okay? So, this is a constant for a type of material. So, yung constant po natin, okay, that can be this value, 1.38 times 10 to the negative 23 or 8.62 times 10 to the negative 5. Okay? So, pipili lang po tayo between these two for the value of K. Okay? So, yan lang po. Piliin po natin ito o kaya iyon. So, paano po natin malalaman kung alin po yung tamang gamitin? Okay? Dapat po, titingnan mo yung QV. Kung ano po yung unit ng QV, okay, i-follow mo po yung unit ng K. Kasi kailangan po ma-cancel out po natin sila. Okay? Kaya kung yung QV mo po is expressed in electron volt, so ari po ang gagamitin natin, 8.62. Okay? Pero kung nakita mo, given QV is in joule, then you make use of the first one, 1.38 times 10 to the negative 23. Okay? And then the value of T here, okay, the value of T, that is the absolute temperature. When you say absolute temperature po, you will be using a temperature in the Kelvin scale. So if you are given, say for example, 500 degrees Celsius, you have to convert that into the Kelvin scale bago mo po gamitin dito sa ating equation. So you simply add 273, okay? 273, so 7, 2, 3. Ayan. Okay, so you come up with 773 Kelvin. Okay, kailangan po, okay, you have to convert it first on the Kelvin scale before po natin siya i-substitute onto this equation. Okay, so hindi po pwedeng in Celsius natin siya gagawin. Okay, so you examine po the sample problem. Okay, so you are to compute here po the number of vacancies. Okay, so you calculate the number of vacancies per cubic meter for copper at 1000 degrees Celsius. Okay, so the energy, the energy for vacancy formation is 0.9 electron volt per atom, and the atomic weight and density for 1000 degrees Celsius are given as 63.5 gram per mole and 8.4 gram per cm cube. Okay, so what you are asked to find is the number of vacancies. Okay, so you are given here the temperature. Okay, this one is your QV, and then this is your atomic number. Okay, and then this one would be the density. Okay, so you are to find the value of QV. Now, so bear in mind that yung kung ating number of vacancies, that is dependent also on the temperature. Alam po natin, yung atoms, kapag po inilagay mo siya sa mataas na temperature, ang tendency niya is mas maging mabilis yung motion, okay? Mas magulo. Okay? Kaya, ganun din po yung kanya na vacancy. So, mas dumadami yung vacancy kapag po mas mataas yung temperature. Kasi nga, galaw siya ng galaw. Okay? So, ganun po yung scenario po doon. Now, so you are asked to find the value of the number of vacancies. So from our previous slide, this is the equation. NV is equal to component negative QV over KT. Okay, yung QV po na yon that is given. So meron po itong QV. Yung 0.9 electron volt per atom. Okay? For the value of K, this is a constant. So pipili tayo doon sa dalawang constant kanina. Okay? Alin po yung pipiliin natin? One having yung same unit as QV. So kung alin po ay electron volt, so yung K value po in electron volt, yun po yung pipiliin natin. Ito pong 8.62 times 10 to the negative 5. Okay, so yun po yung pinili. Again, why is this one yung pinili natin? It is because para pareha siya ng unit dito sa UV natin para makakancel out natin siya. Okay, so ganun po siya piliin. What about the value of T? You are given there the value of the temperature 1000 degrees Celsius. Again, you will be adding 273 to convert into Kelvin. Right? Kaya 1273 Kelvin. So, ito po yun. Okay? So, from this equation po, ang nawawala po natin is yung N. Okay? How do you call the value of N? You call that the number of atomic sites. Okay? Number of atomic sites. So, how do you obtain the number of atomic sites? You use this equation. N is equal to Avogadro's number times okay, that's the Avogadro's number. So, Avogadro's number from our previous discussion, that's equal to 6.023 times 10 to the 23 atoms per mole. So, doon po, ang ginagamit po natin ay 023, not 022. Okay? So, there is a slight discrepancy on the value. Okay? Kasi from other books, they use 6.022. Okay? Just like po yung ito, sa temperature, di ba? Doon sa ibang thermobooks natin, ang nakikita mo doon ay 273.15. May 0.15 pa. Okay? But then, some other references, they simply make use of 273 and simply drop yung 0.15. Okay? O, ganun din po doon sa equation of state. Rm equal to 8.315, if you could recall. Okay? Pero pag pumunta po kayo dun sa ChemEng, ang ginagamit po nila is not 8.315 but 8.314 lamang. Okay? So, depende po yan sa ginagamit po natin na references. Okay? So, para po, pare-parehas po yung ating value. Okay? Since yung una po natin ginamit on the computation of the density is 6.023, then we ought to use na po 0.23. Okay? So, ang gagawin nyo po is just to recompute this po, okay, using 6.023. Okay? And then you have there the density, 8.4 gram per cm cube. This one here, 10 to the 6 cm cube over m cube. This comes from the, this is a conversion, okay? 1 cm or 10 cm, 100 cm over 1 meter. Okay, you have there for 1 meter, you have there 1 cm. And then you raise this to the third. Kaya you come up with 10 to the 6. Okay, equivalent to 1 cubic meter. Okay, so answer if you use your 6.023. Okay, kindly provide the answer po kahit doon na lang sa chat box po. What should then be the answer? What is the value po? Paki-compute po ako. You use your calculator po. Always bring with you your calculators po. O ano po rin in-adjust natin? This is no longer equal to 8 times 10 to the 28. Since we will be using now 6.023 times 10 to the 23 atoms per mole. Okay, so we yield there 7.967, okay, times 10 to the, this is 6, okay, this is 6. 7.967 times 10 to the 28 atoms per cubic meter, meaning for a cubic meter, okay, there are okay, di ba ang dami niya? Times 10 to the 28 pa, okay, na power. So, napakadami. Okay, kasi we all know, sobrang liliit naman po nung atin na atom. So, that can fit. Okay, ari po ay vacancies lamang. Okay, vacancies lamang. Okay, so you have here the value. And then from there, yun po yung ipapalit natin dito, okay, as the number of atomic sites, okay, atomic sites, and then you have their QV and KT, okay. So kindly, ano na lang po, what is then the value of the number of vacancies per cubic meter, okay. So i-recompute po natin, ano na po yung gagamitin, okay. Or the value, ano po kasi is truncated. We use only 3 decimal places, so marami pa po yung kasunod, okay. So you can make use of that value, then multiply by this, okay. So ano po yung number of vacancies. So tingnan po natin. So this is the way on how we compute for the number of vacancies, okay? And then Next po doon, okay, is, yan. Okay, so this is still under point defects. So, ang tawag po naman sa kanya is self-interstitial. Okay? So, this one po, yung self-interstitial. Okay? Wherein, the atom po is placed, okay, doon po sa position na yon na dapat ay not occupied. Okay? Dapat wala. Okay? But then, nagpilit siya doon. Okay? And then, you call it self-interstitial kasi it is of the same, okay, atom as that of the host. Okay? So, parehas lang sila. Okay? So, ano naman po yung effect, okay, kapag po meron na self-interstitial. Okay? So, here, this introduces a relatively large distortion. Okay? Distortion meaning na totally na nasisira po, okay, na di-distort, na nababago yung kanyang mga deformation. Ano po ang ginagawa dyan? Okay? So, this defect is not highly probable and it exists in a very small concentrations that are significantly lower than that of the vacancies. So, if you are to consider the situations wherein you produce this self-interstitial over that of a vacancy, so mas madami yung ganun. Okay? Mas madami yung ganung imperfection as kumpara sa ganito po. Okay? This one naman po is different kasi you make use of an impurity atom. Okay? Still interstitial but then using an impurity atom. So from the discussion, see the orange ones, okay, that are situated na gitna, nakasingit from our iron alloy, atoms. Okay? So these are the iron atoms. Yung pong orange na yon, that would be the carbon atom. Okay? So, yun po ang tawag sa kanya is interstitial impurity atom because that is not of the same material as that of the host. Okay? Kaya ang tawag sa kanya is impurity atom. And what is then the effect of this? Okay? Ano po yung effect niya? Okay? It creates strain field and these fields block, okay, dislocation motion leading to increased strength and hardness. Okay? So, hindi naman po lahat ng effect ng ating po ng mga imperfections are negative. Okay? Meron din po na positive. O katulad po nito, that leads to an increased strength and the hardness in case of this alloy. Okay? So, ano po ang nangyayari? Okay? Nag-increase yung strength and hardness na because of this. So, mainly po ang nangyayari dyan, bakit ba siya nagkakaroon ng interstitial na minsan po yan ay sinasadya. Okay? So this is the power of materials engineering. Okay? So sabi natin sa materials engineering, you will be in the structure, original structure, to come up with the predetermined set of properties required for the application. Okay? So, yan po yung ginagawa. Sinisingitan mo siya ngayon ng impurity atom. Okay? Yan po yung mga alloying elements na idinadagdag mo. Okay? Pag siningitan mo siya ng ganyan, so the property of the iron, okay, nagbago na. Kasi may in-induce ka na ibang impurity atom. Okay? So, that is the process of your materials engineering. Okay, you are to re-engineer the structure by having these impurity atoms. Okay. Okay, high concentrations of interstitial impurities can lead to increased internal stress and reduce ductility. Okay, bakit po nakaka-reduce ng ductility? Just take the case of this po. You have here yung carbon. Okay, they call that pagtaas po ng value ng carbon, okay, pag mataas po yung value ng carbon, then the material becomes brittle. Okay, that is nakita po natin when we have our discussion on the AISI and SAE designation. Okay, di po ba para masabi natin na siya ay brittle, it should be above 50 points of carbon. Okay? So, kung madami po ang ilalagay natin dyan na carbon, then this will become brittle. Okay? And pag naging brittle po siya, of course, marireduce yung kanyang kabaliktaran, which is the ductility. Okay? So, more prone to cracking. Okay? It can change also the corrosion resistance, oxidation behavior, and the chemical stability of your material. Okay? So, yan po yung paglalagay lang ng impurity atom. And then we have here, okay, still under point defects po, ang tawag po natin is substitutional atom. Okay? Substitutional naman po, from the word itself, okay, you are to substitute, okay, an atom in since po, kumbaga, may missing doon, okay, na atom, okay, you have to replace it po with an impurity atom. So, ang tawag natin doon is substitution. Okay? So, here po sa materials engineering, ganun din po ang ginagawa natin. We want to enhance the property of the host atom. So, ang ginagawa, pinapalitan mo. Okay? So, instead na the same atom siya, pinalitan mo siya sadya. Okay? Bakit mo siya pinapalitan? To come up with the predetermined set of properties required for the application. Okay? So, yun po yung trabaho ni materials engineering. Okay? That is again re-engineering the structure and providing a substitutional atom that is one way, okay, para po mabago natin yung kanyang structure at property. So these are widely used to design stronger, more durable, and functional materials, specifically in the alloys and the semicon. So sabi ko nga, para mapaganda mo yung kanyang property, o maglagay ka ng substitutional atom. Okay? Kumbaga hindi siya vacant. You need to replace lang po what is in there. Okay? And then we have here po the second type. Ano po yung second type na natin. The first type is the point defect, which wherein yung pong ating pong mga defects is only on a single point. Okay, ito naman po, tinatawag natin as the linear defects. And the linear defects, these are what we call the dislocations or one-dimensional. Okay, so one-dimensional po. Okay, and these are the samples. We have under the linear defect, we have the edge dislocation, the screw dislocation, and the mixed dislocation. Okay, and edge dislocation. Okay, you look at the edge dislocation po natin. You have here po your atoms and then they are of course arranged. Okay, so arranged orderly. So meron siyang kanya-kanyang rows, may kanya-kanyang column. Okay, so yan. But then you look at this part po. Okay, wala na siya ditong kadugtong. Okay, nawala na yung kadugtong niya dito. So, yan po yung tinatawag natin as edge dislocation. Okay, nawala yung kadugtong. So, in that way, nung nawala po yung kadugtong na yon, ang nangyari, okay, you look at this one. Okay, so yung dating original form niya, okay, na diretso, na-dislocate na yung mga edges natin because of this. Kasi may kulang doon. Okay? So, yan po. And ano yung effect niya? They enable ductility, they affect the strength, and are manipulated through processing. Okay? To tailor the material performance. This is the second type naman po of the linear, okay, dislocation. We call this the screw dislocation and it is on this part. Okay, so nakita niyo po ba dito? Okay, so initially magkaka-tapat po yan. Okay, but then ano po nangyari dito? Parang there is a sliding motion here. There is a shearing motion here. So nag-slide po itong side na to papunta doon. Kaya you come up with this screw dislocation. Okay? So they allow shear movement. So shear movement, ibig sabihin nga po is yung sliding motion. So there is sliding motion. which contributes to ductility, strain hardening, creep behavior, and other critical understanding as to how metals and other materials deform under stresses. Okay? So take note of yung itsura ng screw dislocation and its difference with the edge dislocation. Ipaglalahukin mo lang yung una at yung pangalawang linear defects. Okay? So the first one is the edge, okay? And then the other one is the screw. So ano po yung sa screw dislocation, tapos ito naman po yung nasa edge. Okay? Napansin niyo po yung point na yon, okay? Pagdating dito, wala na siyang kadugtong. Okay? So that causes the dislocation of the material. Okay? So pinagsama po yung dalawang ito. Okay, this is the third group. Okay, ang tawag naman po natin is interfacial defects. So this time, ito po ay two-dimensional. Okay, so these are boundaries that have two dimensions and normally separate. Okay, so you take note of the term. It separates the regions of the materials, okay, of different crystal structures. So under those, we have external surfaces, grain boundaries, phase boundaries, twin boundaries, and then the stacking fault. Okay, so let us have the first one. So we have the external surfaces, okay? So yan po, sa external surfaces, you can easily identify po the boundary, okay? Halimbawa na lang po, wood, okay? Di po ba sa wood, kita mo meron siyang mga fibers, okay? So makikita mo dun ngayon, yung mga fibers na yon, meron kanya-kanyang boundaries. Kumaga, iisa yung itsura, okay? Iisa yung direction ng isang part, tapos din sa kabilang part, iba na namang direction. So, ang kikitingnan mo lang po is yung, kumbaga, yung pinaghatian out of the, okay, out of this structures, okay, out of the itsura po ng kanilang fibers, for example, titingnan mo alin yung hanggang isa. And then load the boundaries, okay? Kumbaga sa fiber ay ito lahat pataas, mamayari sa parting ito lahat pababa. So you draw a line for the for boundary. Okay? Depende sa kung saan mo nakita yung difference in the pattern. Okay? Para siyang yes, kaya nga sabi ko tayong tatlo ay naka-motif. Okay, so to continue po. Okay, so yan po yung nakikita natin. Okay, so these are clearly seen po by the naked eye since they are at the surfaces. Okay. And then here, ano naman po yung napansin po natin? Anyone, if you have here, ano kaya po ito? Okay. So, ito po are the arrangement of your atoms. Okay, so see that the circles, this represents your atoms. And notice that meron siyang pattern po na sinusunod. Okay, katulad po nito, pattern niya, papaganon siya lahat. Okay, but then, pagdating sa pattern na to, parang ay wala na siya biglang kadugtong. Okay, wala na siyang kadugtong. So, nakukulangan. So, ito naman, parang papaganon siya lahat. Okay, yan. Same thing, papaganito. Okay, pero wala na siya kadugtong. Ganon din naman po ito. Okay? So, meron siyang pattern ka nakikita. And then, from that pattern now, you would able to identify. Okay? You are able to identify this line. Okay? So, ano po yung line na yan? Yan po yung magiging boundary po natin. Okay? So, that is the grain boundaries po na tinatawag natin. Okay, spaces that influence nearly all material properties. Okay, so by manipulating this, okay, Engineers can design materials optimized for the strength, the toughness, corrosion resistance, and or conductivity. So meaning all properties are affected, okay, considering these boundaries. Okay, so we have to know where are those boundaries po. Yan. So this time naman po, we have there the phase boundaries. Okay, so dito naman po, ma-identify mo dyan kung siya ba ay solid phase, siya ba ay liquid, okay, or alpha, yan. So, meron pong hangganan, okay? In response to the temperature, okay, so yun po ay para lang siyang graph din, okay? Ang nandito po is the temperature. Tapos nakikita mo parang mga ganyan-ganyan yung graph niya, okay? Yan. So, nakalagay doon, ari ay solid, ari ay say liquid, ari ay alpha, ari ay beta. So these are then the phases. And they are in relation doon sa temperature. Alambawa, 1000 degrees Celsius. Okay? And then you have the corresponding, this is a percentage. Okay? Percentage of the alloy. Yan. So titingnan mo ngayon, halimbawa, nandun yung percentage natin. So ibig sabihin, they will meet here. So ibig sabihin, siya ay solid, ano po, yung phase po niya. So ito pong mga boundary, pinaghatian ng kada phases, yan po yung tinatawag natin as this. Again, these are used by engineers po, okay, to come up with the correct, okay, amount of yung alloy po natin na gagamitin doon sa material. Here, okay, it's still under po doon sa ano natin, interfacial. Okay, so here naman po, ang tawag po natin is yung quid. Okay, so here po, look at this part po. And then you have this line. So, kung i-fold po natin itong line na ito, you would see that this one, okay, is a mirror of the other side. Okay, so if i-fold mo po dito, tapos makikita mo, mirror po siya. Kung tulad A, ano po ay A prime. So pag finold mo po siya, tatapat din siya doon. Okay, you have there C and B, B and C prime. Okay, so naka-mirror po siya doon using this plane po. Okay, so you need to identify this plane po for the twin boundary. And then this one naman po, these are your stacking folds. Okay? So here, okay, you follow a certain stacking sequence. Okay? So katulad po na rin. Okay? So here, you follow a correct stacking sequence. So ito po, okay, you follow this sequence. Yan. So ABC, tapos dito po, ganon din. Same thing with this. So this is the sequence. Okay? But then on stacking fold po, bakit consider natin siya as a imperfection? It is because, yan, you look at this one. So this is the same. Okay? Sequence. So ang kasunod po niyan dapat, it should be A, B, and C. Okay? But then it happened na ay nawala yung C po natin. Okay? Right away, nadagdag po yung kasunod na ABC ulit. Okay? So, ito na yon. Okay? Nawala ngayon yung isa. So, nawala yung C na linya po natin. Okay? So, meaning that the sequence is not achieved. Kaya ang tawag po doon ay stacking fold. Okay, so this one naman po, this is the last, okay, last group. Okay, this is the last group. Ang tawag naman po dyan is, yan, bulk defects or volume defects. Okay, so parehas lang po yun. Okay, so ito po is yung nandun po sa external surfaces po natin. Okay, so these are the imperfections, these are the yung flaws po na nakikita natin. So which includes the cracks, okay, yung pong mga pores, inclusions, voids, yan. Okay? So, yan po yung mga tinatawag natin as the volume defect. So, we can easily see this po sa mga surfaces po niyan. Okay? Kumbaga, pagtingin mo pa lang sa kanya, using your naked eye, you can clearly see the crack na nag-propagate. Okay? You can easily see the pores. Doon naman po sa mga bottles po, okay, may tinatawag po tayo as the blowholes, lalo na po sa glass bottle. So, you have there the blowholes. Para sa na-trap na air. Okay, na-trap na air within the thickness of the glass. Okay, so yun po ay considered then as a bulk defect. Okay? And these are normally introduced, okay, during processing and fabrication. So sa paggagawa mo po nung halimbawa nung sa bote, okay, paggagawa mo nung glass bottle, okay, may biglang nakapasok or na-trap na air po doon, okay, hindi na nakalabas. So that becomes the defect po. Okay, so usually po wala yung mga defect na ito. But then, due to the processing, due to the fabrication techniques that you applied, you come up with these defects. Okay? So, these are critical flaws that can compromise the mechanical integrity, durability, and the reliability of the materials and the components. So, they really affect the performance of the po natin, nung component natin. Bakit? Kasi nga, they will serve as a stress razor. Okay? Kung nakakita ka doon ng crack, so doon siya yung pagsisimulan ng sira ng ating component. Okay? Kasi nga, pag in-apply mo siya ng load, mechanical load, in-apply mo ng force, hinila mo, di doon siya unang bibigay. Okay? Kaya piniprevent palagi na magkaroon ng mga defect. Kasi nga, yung failure would most likely to occur on that area. Okay? So, nasa-sacrifice po yung, yung mechanical integrity. So, how will you be so sure na hindi masisira yung iyong component, okay? Or hindi masisira yung component mo or magfa-function siya ng ayos kung alam mo na may crack po siya. Okay? Parang hindi panatag yung loob mo, okay, na hindi siya masisira kasi nakakita ka ng crack sa kanya. Okay? So, proper processing control, inspection, and material selection are essential to minimize their impact. Okay? Kaya kung mapansin nyo po, yung mga industries po natin, they are already automated. Okay? May automation na. Tapos, you have also yung quality control. Okay? Meron pong ganun sila. Na tinitingnan po is really the quality of the product. Okay? So, doon sa kanilang production line, since automated po siya, okay, ang nangyayari, lahat ng may defects, nahihiwalay. Nadidetect po ng system, tapos nahihiwalay, nawawala doon sa production line. Katulad po ng sinabi ko kanina, may nakita doon sa glass bottle na blowholes. Okay? So, bago po siya i-fill in ng say beverage or cola, anong mangyayari? Siya muna ay i-eject ng system kasi may nakita sa kanya na blowholes. So, yung wala lang defects will continue para doon sa sunod na process na i-undergo niya. Okay? So, for every process, may quality control. Okay? May sensor tayo magtitingin kung alin ba yung may defect. Okay? So, we are done with the four imperfections. These are the four groups and their particular examples. Okay? So, all of those defects can be seen using these microscopic techniques. Okay? So, we have the optical microscopy, electron, which includes the TEM and the SEM, and also the scanning probe microscopy. So, dito po sa university, we have their 1 and 2. Okay, yan po yung meron tayo available sa chemistry lab. Okay, sa PET lab po, we have the optical microscopy. Okay, and then doon naman po sa chem lab, ito pong TEM at saka po yung SEM po natin. So, if you will be needing those, pwede naman po siyang i-borrow. Okay, you need simply to approach our laboratory technicians. So these are the ranges of the resolution, okay, nung kung ating mga microscopes na ginagamit. So na dito po, napansin nyo, dito sa huli, you have there the naked eye, okay? And this simply the resolution range, okay, nung para sa naked eye po natin. Okay, kung ganon kalaking sizes, yan yung nakikita nung naked eye natin. Okay, pero pag liit doon, hindi niya na, of course, makikita. Okay, so may limitations lang tayo as to the resolution ranges. Okay, so you have the optical microscope. Okay, so for optical microscope, hindi po natin nakikita talaga yung mga sizes ng atoms kasi sobrang maliliit po siya. Okay, kaya ang ginagamit natin ay itong mga nandito. Okay, yung mga pakuli po na ito, the SEM, the TEM, and the scanning probe. Okay, so you have here the limitations po and the ranges of the resolutions na ginagamit. Okay, so if you know that ang expected mo na size ng iyong i-investigate, okay, edi you can make use of this figure po to know which type of microscope is to be used. Okay, so ayan po. So again, for our imperfections, okay, so ano po yung dapat nating malaman? Okay, so balikan ulit natin yung objectives natin kanina. Okay, una, you are able to identify and describe various type of imperfections. So halimbawa, binigay ko po sa inyo itong ganito lang itsura. Okay, so identify now. Kung wala po yung label, dapat malaman mo na ay vacancy. This one is an impurity atom. Okay? So, yun lang po yung ibibigay. Dapat ma-identify mo na kung anong klase ng imperfection po meron yung structure po natin. Okay? Yan, nawala ako. And then we have to is to calculate the number of vacancies. So, kanina yung sample problem natin, okay? You are to make use of the equation, okay, to obtain the number of vacancies using the Avogadro's number, okay, using also the Boltzmann constant, okay, and so as the atomic sites, number of atomic sites. And then analyze how different types of defects influence the properties of the materials. Okay? So katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, how does it affect the material? Kung present yung vacancy, ano ba yan? Nakaka-improve ba yan or nakaka-decrease? Nag-e-enhance ba siya ng property or lalong pumapangit? Okay? So sabi ko nga, one of this po is how our properties affected is through our materials engineering. Wherein in materials engineering, you really put in there the impurity atoms, okay, para maiba or ma-enhance yung ating property nung available or the host material or host atom. Okay? So, yan. So, any question po dito? Kami po ay kadugtong pa nun sa atin na structure. Okay? So, we simply know the structures na. Okay? Ano-ano ba yung mga structures natin, ano yung arrangement, and then, kung alam mo na yung arrangement, tingnan naman natin ano yung irregularity sa kanya. Okay? Ano yung naging irregularities? Ano yung naging flaws niya? Paano kung malalaman na by merely looking at the structure ay mayroon palang imperfection? Okay? So, sana po you are able to obtain po the following. Okay? Yung 1 hanggang 3 po natin. So, kung wala pa tayong question, we proceed to another module. Okay, so ito po naman is all about the properties. Okay, so just a short health break lang po. Okay, we resume po at 3:20. Okay, so mag-ano lang po. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so here is, ano naman po ay kaunti lang. Okay. So ito po is our material tetrahedron. Iba lang yung pagkakaayos niya. Okay, but then still, this is the material tetrahedron. And then the four corners, okay, the four corners, that represents the components of your MSE. So we have the first one, that's the structure, followed by the properties. Three is the process. Ano po yung pang-apat? Okay, iba lang yung pagkakaayos niya. Four is the application. Okay? Yan. And then, at the heart of it, yung nasa loob po niya, that would be your characterization. Okay? So, we are done with the discussion of this structure. Okay? Yan yung mga nauna natin na modules. Okay? Same thing with the imperfection. So, under po yun ng structure. Okay? So, dito na po ngayon tayo sa properties. Okay? So, this particular module po, this is the initial part of your properties. Okay? So, ano po ang ba yung tinatawag natin as the properties of the material? Okay? So, we define properties po as the way the material responds, okay, to the environment and also to the external forces, okay? So, different materials, they do behave differently to environmental forces and so as with external forces. O, halimbawa na lang po, alin po yung sinasabi natin na external forces? Say we apply a tensile force. So when we say tensile force po, hihilahin po natin yung material. So you have there two materials. So imagine two materials. One is the rubber band, okay, and then the other one is a sheet of metal, okay. Say you provide the same amount, okay, of force, tensile force, applied on both ends. So you would observe rubber band, it would have definitely yung elongation, a high value of the elongation. Whereas that of a metal sheet, hilahin po natin, okay, same amount as that yung ginamit natin doon sa rubber band. Kumbaga, makipapansin mo, bahagyang mapapansin mo yung kanyang elongation. Hindi mo halos makita or ma-recognize. Okay? But then, okay, so these are two materials and you expect that they will behave differently. Okay? So, kikita na natin doon sa example na yun. They do behave differently upon application of this external force. Okay? So, ganun din po doon sa environment factors. Okay? Ano yung mga environmental factors? Halimbawa po is the moisture content. Okay? Moisture content. And then, you have the air around. Okay? So, if you have there your rubber band, okay, hindi siya gaano apektado noong moisture so as with yung presence of oxygen in the air. Okay? But then, if it is a metal sheet, okay, ano po ang posibleng mangyari? Makikita mo mamaya, meron na kaagad siyang corrosion. Okay? Kasi merong presence ng oxygen and you have their moisture. So, pag naglaho po sila, anong mangyayari? Magkakaroon ng rust. Okay? So, magkaibang material, again, they respond differently. Okay? Kaya yun po yung tinatawag natin as the property. Okay? So, how do the materials behave, okay, in response to the environmental and external forces. So in general, we have the major classification. We have the mechanical properties, okay? So yung mechanical properties, this is the response to mechanical forces. So katulad yung sample natin kanina, okay, that you subject the material to a tensile force, okay? So, yun po yung mechanical property doon. Yung barbawaan is the elasticity. Okay? So, alin doon sa dalawa yung mas elastic. Okay? So, yung elasticity, it's under a mechanical property. Okay? Ano din pa, yung pong halimbawa natin na failure strength. Okay? Yung failure. Kailan ba mamimit yung failure? O inalaplayan mo siya ng tensile strength, mamaya kita mo putol na yung rubber band, pero hindi pa napuputol yung metal sheet natin. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, magkaiba yung kanyang failure strength or rupture strength. Okay? So, mainly, kapag sinabi po natin ng mechanical properties, these are the resistance to the mechanical forces. So, usually, it's the strength of the material. How hard is the material? Okay? How does it resist yung mga forces na ina-apply po sa kanya. Okay? So, yan po yung under ng mechanical properties. Okay? The second one is the electrical and the magnetic properties. Okay? So, ito naman po is its response to the electric current and also the magnetic fields. So, sample po niyan is the conductivity. So, there are materials that we considered as conductors, as insulators, dependent on their response to the electrical and the magnetic fields. Okay? The third one is the thermal property. So this time, it is related to the transmission of heat and the heat capacity. Okay? Kung ato kanina is on the electric current, ito naman is on the heat. So meron din tayong conductors of heat at saka insulators. Okay? In response to the transmission. Okay? So again, kapag optical naman po, it is the way we see the material. Okay? So absorption of the lights, transmission, and the scattering of light. Under transmission po, meron po tayong tinatawag na materials as transparent, translucent, and then opaque. I know everybody naman po can identify a material whether it's transparent, translucent, or the opaque ones. Okay? And then lastly, we have there the chemical stability, okay, which focus on its resistance, okay, or its response to the environmental factors. Okay? So under po niyan is the corrosion resistance, kasama din po diyan yung biodegradability, okay? Yan. So yan po ay kasama, okay, din sa chemical stability. Okay? How do they respond to the oxygen in the air? Okay? Are they being madali ba siyang malusaw o hindi? Okay? And then so this pertains to the service life. Okay? So gaano mo ba siya magagamit? Okay? Yun po yung chemical stability po. Yan. So here are samples po of those properties, okay? So ang gusto ko lang pong matutunan nyo dito is how you interpret po yung mga tables natin, okay? How do you interpret po yung mga figures na yan, okay? Pertaining to each of those properties, okay? So ito po in particular, this will define po the electrical resistivity of the copper, okay? So you look at the figure po. So on the x-axis, we have the temperature, and on the y-axis, we have there the value of the resistivity. And then sa loob po, you have there several lines, okay? Several lines which represents the composition of material, okay? So the first one here, this one is for a pure copper, okay? So this one's a pure copper. And then yung mga succeeding po, those are still copper but then added with a percentage of nickel. Okay? So you add here 1.12%, this is 2.16, and this is 3.32. So the nickel here, that serves as your alloying element. Okay? So yung alloying element natin, minsan ang tawag po natin is an impurity atom. Okay? So inilalahok mo siya para po ma-enhance po natin yung kanyang property. Okay? So, ang una po natin tingnan is the relationship between the resistivity and that of the temperature. Okay? Tingnan mo po dito sa pure copper. Dito po, in increasing order ng temperature from negative 200, negative 100, 0, to a positive value. Okay? So, increasing temperature po yan. Okay? So, paki-ano po natin, So ano po natin, anong relationship po ng temperature with resistivity? O tingnan niyo po are. Halimbawa po, negative 100. Ano bang value ng kanyang resistivity? Kung siya ay 0, ano yung kanyang resistivity? So ano po ang relationship? Anyone? Anyone po? Ano pong nangyayari sa resistivity as you increase the temperature? Tingnan niyo po din sa graph na yan. Anyone? You raise your hand po. Please raise your hand. Tingnan niyo po, are. O, are po yung sample. O, see the relationship between the two. O, kung siya ay negative 100, ano ba yung kanyang resistivity? O, kunin mo dito. Ganon din naman doon sa 0. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, pag ginawa mo siyang 0, you increase the temperature. O, nung ginawa ko siyang 0, ko siya sa 0, ari po yung kanyang reading. So, dadalhin mo dito. Okay? So, dadalhin mo papunta doon. Read mo. Ganun din, negative 100. O, ari po yung kanyang reading, for example. So, ano po yung masasabi natin? What is the relationship between the resistivity and that of the temperature? Anyone? Please raise your hand po. Yes, ano bang tawag sa iyo? Ian.
Ano po ma'am?
Mr. Ali-Ali?
Pag po tumataas po yung temperature, tumataas din po yung resistivity.
Okay, very good. Okay, so tama po si Ian. Okay, so kapag po tumataas nga naman yung temperature, kita po natin, you look at the trend po nung atin pong linya, okay, para sa pure copper. Pag tinataas mo po yung kanyang temperature, nataas din po yung kanyang resistivity. Correct po yun, okay? So, same thing po dito. Kahit po inada natin siya ng nickel, okay? Kahit po inada natin siya ng nickel, okay? Siya po ay pataas din. So, lahat po ng trend niya, lahat po ay pataas. So, ibig sabihin po nun, okay, as you increase the temperature, resistivity also increases. Okay, so yun po yun. Okay, yun po yung una nating napansin dyan sa ating figure. Okay, ano po yung pangalawa? Okay, so ito naman po, okay, so sabi nga natin, this is copper, ari po ay pure, tapos ari po, dinagdagan po natin ng 1.12%. Okay, 1.12%. Halimbawa po, pare-parehas pong temperature yung tingnan natin, 0 degrees. Okay, so kung 0 po dito, okay, so extend lang po natin yung linya. Pagtang ko po ng kulay, wait lang. Yan. So, ito po yung 10. Okay, ito po yung linya natin for 0. So, this is the value of the resistivity. Okay, kapag siya, okay, so halimbawa po, approximately, okay, pag po pure copper, halimbawa ang reading po natin is 1.5 times 10 to the negative 8. Okay, kapag po inad mo siya ng 1.12%, ano po ang reading din eh? So, most probably po, pag tinignan natin dito, that's around, ari po ay yung copper plus 1.12. So, ang nandini po, ang nabasa natin is 2.5 times 10 to the negative 8. Kapag po doon sa inadan mo ng 2.16, ito naman po siya. So, approximately 3.75. Okay? Tapos, kapag po naman ito, so this is more than, say, 5.5. Okay? So, yun po ay approximation lang. Okay? So, you use po the straight edge to really find the value. Okay? Yung mas malapit na value. Okay? Ari po quick glance lang. Okay? So, ano po mapansin natin? As you add po, okay, yung amount ng nickel to copper, what happens to the resistivity? Tingnan nyo po yung value natin, yung quick ano po natin din eh. Quick reading po natin, okay? Sa pure, tapos inada ng 1.12, tapos inada ng 2.16, tapos 3.32. So, ano po ang relationship between the amount of nickel added, okay, with the resistivity po? Taas po yung kamay ulit. Ano po ang nakita niyong relationship? Yan, nag-sample na po tayo. Di ka po, kitang-kita niyo na yung sample natin. O, ari po yung sa 1.12. Ari po yung walang inad. Ari po yung inada ng 1.12. Ari po ay inada ng 2.16. Ari po inada ng 3.32. At the values of the resistivity. What happened po? Okay, so see the relationship between the ambiguity. Anyone? Oh, Miss Micah.
Ma'am, the more nickel you add po, the higher the resistivity po.
Okay, tama. Okay, so tama po yun. The more po yung alloying element natin, in this case is the nickel added to your copper, mas tumaas po yung kanyang resistivity. Okay? So, tama po yung sinabi niya. Sana po yung iba, yun din ang nakita. Kitang-kita naman po din sa value na rough estimate natin doon. Ari nataas yung amount ng nickel, nataas din yung kanyang resistivity. Kaya ano pong generalization din eh? Adding impurity atom to copper, that increases the resistivity. Okay? Ayan. The higher the amount of the nickel, that is your impurity atom, or your alloying element, it increases the resistivity of the copper. Okay? Ito naman po yung isa nating tingnan. Okay? Ari pong dalawang linya na yon. This is copper with 1.12% nickel. Ari pong kasunod, this is also copper with the same amount, 1.12% nickel. Ang pinagkaiba lang po is that, yan, meron po siyang process na in-undergo. It undergoes a deforming process. Yung isa po, wala pong ganung process na in-undergo. And you look at the value of the resistivity po nila. Okay? Kung ikukumpara mo po siya sa isa 0 degree din, ari po yung walang deforming at ari yung may deforming. Okay? Ano po nakita natin? Nung nagkaroon ng deforming process, okay, yung resistivity po niya mas mataas kumpara doon sa wala. Okay? Parehas yung composition, okay? Parehas yung temperature, pero mas mataas yun kasi nag-undergo siya ng deforming process. So, yun po yung pangalawa dito. Deforming copper, that increases the resistivity. Okay? So, ano pong ibig sabihin ng dalawang generalization na to? Okay? These are the two ways on how you can enhance the property of your material. Okay? Anong una? You add an alloying element or you add an impurity atom. Okay? That is one. Okay? I-enhance mo po yung kanyang property. Ang pangalawa naman, undergo a process. Okay? So, in this particular example, it undergoes a deforming process, okay, to enhance the resistivity, okay, or to enhance the property. It should undergo, or you find a process, okay, find a enhancement process para po ano po natin yung kanyang property. Okay, so yun po yung nakita natin from this electrical property. Okay, we go to the next one naman po. Yan. So, tingnan po naman natin aring graph po na to. Okay? So, thermal property naman po to. This refers po dun sa heat conduction. Okay? Sa heat conduction po ito. Okay? So, thermal conductivity of the copper. Okay? So, ang thermal conductivity po, yun po yung nasa y-axis. At ang nasa x-axis po natin would be the composition of the zinc. Okay, ano pong ibig sabihin ng composition na yan? Okay, so ano pong ibig sabihin ng composition? Ang nakikita lang po natin doon is 0 to 0 to 40. Okay? So din po, ibig sabihin po din 0 po na yon. Okay? So 0 po na yan po ay percent zinc. Ayan, 80 copper and then 20% zinc. Okay? Tapos din po sa 40, That would be 60 copper and then 40 zinc. So sum total will always be 100 po. Okay? So yung zinc po, okay, that is our alloying element. Okay? So this is the alloying element or the impurity atom. So the original material is the copper. Okay? So kapag po pure copper, ano po 100% copper, okay, you look at the thermal conductivity. Yan. So almost 400 po. Okay, yun yung reading natin. Pero pagdating na ng 20, okay, nag-add ka ng 20% na zinc, what happened? Okay? So, nagiging insulator na siya. Okay, nababawasan na yung kanyang conductivity. So, nandito na lang siya around 160. Okay? Pagdating ng 30, mas mababa pa. Okay? So, around 140. Okay? So, yan po yung nakikita natin. Okay? So, what is then the relationship of the conductivity with the amount of the zinc? Okay? So, habang tumataas ang amount ng zinc, what happens to your thermal conductivity? Bumababa naman yung kanyang value. Okay? Ito pa kasi is increasing value of strength of zinc. Okay? So, increasing composition of zinc, ari naman po, you look at the conductivity, pababa siya ng pababa. Kaya sabi dito, the thermal conductivity of copper, it decreases when you add zinc. Okay? So, bumababa, nagiging insulator po siya. Okay? That is why it is being used for the insulation because of low heat conduction. Okay? Kapag dinagdagan mo po siya ng zinc. Properties, the magnetization level. Okay? At this one is the magnetic field. Okay? So, here, dalawa po yung material na kinompare natin. This is iron, pure iron, and this is iron added with alloying element. Okay? So, ano ulit ang alloying element natin dito? That is the silicon. Okay? So, 3% silicon po yung inad natin to the iron. And if you are to compare the magnetization level, okay, kung nandito tayo at the same position ng magnetic field, ito yung isa, okay, yung may silicon, at ito naman yung para dun sa pangalawa. Okay? So, alin ang mas mataas yung magnetization level? It is the one with the alloying element. Kaya sabi dito, adding 3%, okay, silicon makes iron a better recording medium. Kasi mas mataas yung kanyang magnetization level. Okay? So, ano po ang naging effect dito? Okay? To enhance the property of the material, again, you need to add alloying element. Dini po, nakalimutan ko yung kanina. Anong dito ang ginawa? This is also addition of an alloying element. Okay? Dini, yung dalawa. Addition of alloying element and yung deforming process. Okay? Incorporating a process para ma-enhance yung kanyang property. So, dalawa po dito. Alloying element, the use of adding alloying element and performing a certain process. Okay? Dini po, dini ay alloying element lang. Yung pangatlo, addition uli of an alloying element. Okay? O, dini po tayo sa pang-apat. O, dini sa pang-apat, wala. Kasi this is more on the optical property. So, in terms of the transmittance. Okay? So, we have here, ito po yung tinatawag natin as the transparent. Ari po yung transp, ari po yung translucent. Okay? And ari po yung opaque material. Okay? So, this is able to, yung material, and it's able to, yung transmit po, yung light po natin. So, kapag po dito, okay, yung light can really pass through here, and then you can see there yung other side. Okay, dito naman, bahagya mo siyang makikita. So, sample po nito, yung mga smoke glass po natin. Okay, smoke glass. And then, this one is, yung, opaque. Okay, definitely wala ka nang maaaninang. Okay, and the light really cannot pass through this material. And then last one, we have there the deteriorative property. Okay, we have here the deteriorative property. Ito naman po, okay, this is a result of two experiments. Okay, ano po yung kinompare dito? This is po yung ating material, okay, ito yung component natin that undergoes experimentation. So, ano po yung experimentation natin? Ang aim natin dyan is titingnan natin alin yung unang nagkaka-crack. So, ito po yung crack na titingnan yan, okay? So, ang ginawa po dito, okay, inilublob po siya to salt water. Okay? So, nilublob po siya sa salt water and then alin yung mas unang magka-crack. Okay? So, ano yung dalawang specimen natin? Yung una, ganito. And then, wala kang ibang ginawa sa kanya. Okay? You simply soak that in a salt water. Okay? And then, you apply there a load. Okay? So, increasing load po. Ibig sabihin, yung bawa, tensile load po ang ina-apply mo sa kanya. Okay? And then, in salt water. And then, tingnan mo ngayon kung nagkakaroon ba siya ng cracks? Gaano kabilis siya magkaroon ng crack? Okay? So, yun ang tinatawag natin na as-is. Okay? That is the as-is version. That's the original specimen na wala kang preparation na ginawa. Basta, diniretso mo na siya doon sa experiment. Again, ano yung experiment natin? I-soak mo siya doon sa salt water. Okay? Tapos, a-applyan mo siya ng force. And then, tingnan mo kung siya ay magkakaroon ng cracks. Gaano kabilis mag-propagate yung cracks sa kanya. Okay? And then, the second one naman, yung nag-undergo ng heat treatment. Okay? Kumbaga, bago i-perform, kasi diretso na sa experiment. Ito, bago mag-perform ng experiment, hinit muna po siya. Okay? So, ininit muna po yung ating material na yan, okay, yung component na yan, ininit muna po into, say, 160 degrees Celsius. Okay? So, 160 degrees Celsius for 1 hour. Okay? So, isang oras po siyang hinitreat at 160 degrees Celsius. Okay? And then, after heating po ito for 1 hour, tsaka po mo siya ipinperform doon sa experiment. So, binabad mo po siya to a salt water at 23 degrees Celsius. Okay? So, parehas po yung pinagbabada ng dalawa. And then, yun din po yung aim natin. Tingnan mo ngayon siya, okay, yung hinitreat mo, gaano naman kabilis din siya nagkaroon ng crack. So, you are to compare the two. Okay? So, you are to compare the two kung alin po sa dalawa ang unang nagkaka-crack at mabilis na nagkaka-crack. Okay? So, yun po yung ibig sabihin nitong dalawang experiment. So, ito na po yung naging result ng experiment. So, ito na po yung result ng experiment natin. Ari po yung una, yung as-is, at ito po yung pangalawa na nagkaroon ng heat treatment, yung color red. Okay? So, this is the crack speed po. Okay? At ito naman po yung sa may heat treatment. So, ano po ang masasabi natin doon sa dalawa? Alin po ang may mataas na crack speed? Yun po bang as-is or yun pong may heat treatment? Anyone po? Yes, ulit. Ayan.
Mas mabilis po mag-crack yung yung pong as-is.
Tama. Okay, kaya dun sa atin po na figure, okay, kita nyo po kaagad na mas mataas po yung tayo ng atin na as-is. Mas mabilis kasi yung kanyang crack speed kumpara dito sa heat treatment. Kasi ang gamit po ng heat treatment, it will slow down. At saka po, mas pinapatibay po niya yung ating material. Kaya kung sa pagkakaroon po ng crack, mas mabagal siyang magkaroon ng crack as compared to the as-is version. Okay? So, yun po. So, ibig sabihin, na-enhance mo yung iyong material by subjecting it to the heat treatment, which is a process. Okay? So, yan. Okay, naputol pala ako. Okay, so nakita po natin dito, is that, okay, kapag po nag-undergo siya ng heat treatment, it will slow down the propagation of the crack. Okay, kaya mas na-enhance yung kanyang property. So, in this particular example po, sa deteriorative property, para ma-enhance ang property, anong nakita natin? It should undergo a process, and that process is heat treatment. Okay? So, dito sa mga diniscuss natin na mga slides, okay? So, yung property ng material that is being enhanced by, again, yung dalawa. Okay? Adding alloying element, and the other one is performing a process. Okay? So, dito, ulit natin ha. Dito po, dalawa. Adding alloying element and process. Okay? Dito sa sunod, sa thermal, alloying element lang po. Addition of the alloying element. Dito, again, is addition of alloying element. Here, okay, sa last po, sa deteriorative, ano naman po ito? Performing a process. Okay? So, kita na po natin, okay, the effects, okay, of those processes and the addition of the alloying elements to the specific property na dinefine po dito sa mga slides po natin. Okay? So, yun po yung ano natin. Yun po yung use nung dalawang po na yun. Okay? Again, that is to enhance the property of your material. Okay? Any question? Question po sila. Meron po ba? O, yung iba po dyan, tulog na po ata. Okay, so kung mapansin nyo po, doon sa mga slides na discuss natin, wala po doon yung mechanical property. Okay, so mechanical property, that is its response to the mechanical forces. Okay, so we'll have a separate, okay, we'll have a separate module po para doon. Okay, so in line with it po, my assignment to you is to review, okay? Kindly review po your mechanics of deformable bodies, okay? Particularly the stresses and the strain and those equations involved, okay? How do you create a stress-strain diagram? Okay, shear and moment diagram, yan. So, alalahanin po ulit natin, okay? So, pakialalahanin po natin yun. Okay? So, bubuklatin po ulit yung lecture po ninyo noon para mas mabilis po yung ating discussion for the next module. Okay? So, I think I'm done for today. Okay? So, kapag po ganito na ano po natin, kapag po laboratory po natin, and wala pa po tayong experiment na ginagawa, okay, we'll just consume po 2 hours. Okay, we'll just consume a maximum of 2 hours po for the lecture. Okay, pero kung meron na po tayo ng experiment, ay baka kulang pa yung 3 hours po sa pag-experiment po natin. But then kung gagamitin po natin lecture, edi ganito po, mga 2 hours lang po. Okay? Another announcement po pala, okay, for the module, okay, for the copy of the module. So, ilalagay ko po siya dito sa atin na classroom, but not the copy itself, but the link lang po doon sa module, okay? So, same link lang po yon. Lahat po ng module ay doon nyo makikita. Ang magiging naka-upload pa lang po ay yung natapos na. So, from time to time, doon ko po idadagdag, okay? At doon nyo lang din po sa isang link na yon titingnan. Okay? Okay, so ano na po ako, pa-open po ako ng ating camera para po sa attendance po natin. Miss Maika, pasuyo ako. Everyone, please. O, hanggang ngayon, wala pa yung ating nasa na yung hinihingi ko sa inyo na background sa section 5. Bago magsimula ang klase ay ilagay na po kaagad. You can use naman po the same background for other classes kasi wala naman po dyan nakalagay na materials engineering, di ka po. So, all throughout, pwede nyo na po yung gamitin natin. O, ari, naging ME 2204 pa. Iyan, 2204 ka pa, sala. O, yung iba, kailan na nating meeting? Hanggang ngayon, di pa kayo nakakapalit. Yung hindi nag-o-open ng camera, yan ay tulog. Kaya hindi mag-open ng camera, tulog. Miss Maria Ann. John. Paulo. O yung pang iba dyan. O tinan nyo, hindi din nasagot. Hero. Two screenshots.
Ma'am, mag-screenshot na po ako.
Okay, yung wala, ID wala.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Ma'am, okay na po.
Okay, another one, Ineng, another one. You always take 2 screenshots. O, baka kasi sakali na mag-o-open ng camera yung mga tulog na gising na. Okay. O,
1, 2, 3.
Okay, sige.
Okay na po.
Akala ko nawawala rin si Kent Benedict. Kisame lang yung nakikita. Okay, sige po.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you po.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Okay, okay.